Hi, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt. I've got Olivia and Tammy with me, and we're going to do the CBO TA. And if you couldn't tell, I don't have much of a voice right now, so I'm going to try to talk as little as possible. And, oh, I see the poll was closed. All right. So welcome, everybody. Happy New Year. And we'll get rolling here. First thing we probably want to do is get everybody to check in now that we've got that poll open again. And Olivia, if you want to pull your screen up and over and open it up.
Okay. All righty. So I am just going to quickly run through the Enrolled Dashboard and cover some areas that we need to clean up some customers in. As some of you know, I and our project assistant, Michelle, sent out some emails today requesting that you update a couple of the customers who are missing their 21 and 51 form, and 48 hours had passed since their scheduled appointment. So if you got that email, just try to get those updated as quickly as possibly. It looks like about 12 of you did so far, but we'll go ahead and start and just run through the dashboard really quick. So the first section that we need to keep an eye on is this referral pending needs 2151. This is the 48 hours after their appointment. It's just saying they need that 2151, but it's not yet overdue because you're still within that 48-hour time period. However, the one right underneath it was the one that I sent emails out about today, and we have 41 customers who do not have a 2151 uploaded, and 48 hours have passed since their original scheduled appointment. So if you did get an email or you have any customers in there, please get those cleaned up as quickly as possible, so we can get them flowing through the dashboard, and if conciliations need to be done, DHS is made aware in a timely manner. And then the next section is referral accepted and enrollment started, enrollment required. We have 18 customers who do have a 2151 uploaded with client services initiated, but they have not actually been enrolled into a particular training program. So once we initiate services with these customers, we need to be enrolling them in these training programs so that we can save them a spot in that training program. Because if you wait until closer to the training program, it could be full, and then that customer is not going to be very happy if they were waiting all that time and then they ended up not getting a spot in there. So as soon as we initiate services with them, we really need to be getting them enrolled into that training program. The next section is the CBO needs to upload past due. It's referring to the 2151A, the monthly upload. Today is the 4th, so they're due between the 1st and the 5th, so we have until the end of the day tomorrow to get those uploaded on time. We have 480 customers who are missing their monthly 2151A form. So if you have any customers in that section, please try to get those forms uploaded as quickly as possible. I understand with the holidays and everything, it's been kind of crazy, but if we can get them uploaded by the end of the week this week, that would be great. And then the
Olivia, I just put the link for the actual app to get into the EPIC dashboard. So if you've been having problems trying to log in, it's a statewide global Illinois WorkNet login issue that we're trying to get corrected. So you can get into EPIC by using the link that I just put up into the chat pod, and you can still upload your 2151As. Go ahead, Olivia.
All righty. And then the next section that we need to keep an eye on is this exited status completion documentation needs uploaded. We have 6 customers who have exited for some reason, but they are still missing their exit documentation. So you need to get that uploaded, and then it will correctly display in which section they were exited into. And then another thing that I wanted to touch on is this the withdrew from study upload complete 2151A? So what this section is referring to is when all the customers, and Dee will explain this a little bit more, when all the customers go through orientation, they have to sign saying they are going to participate in EPIC. And the only way they can get out of EPIC is if they call a certain number and withdraw from the study completely. And that will permanently kick them out of EPIC. They are not allowed in EPIC for 3 years, and it will be done by then. So that is the only reason you would mark somebody as withdrawn from the study. I know it says there's 9 in there, but only one person has actually called and withdrawn from the study. I talked to DHS today, and I'm going to be reaching out to a couple CBOs who have customers in this section about how we're going to handle these customers because they dropped out of the program. They didn't technically withdraw. And so I will be getting, you may be getting a call from me going over how we're going to move these customers so they're showing correctly and they match up with EPIS and the study team's numbers. Do you guys have any question on the Enrolled Dashboard?
Daryl asked if they could start on the 25th of the month, but I think the system only acknowledges them if they're uploaded between the 1st and the 5th. So you could start preparing them and then just upload them between the 1st and the 5th. That would give you the extra time.
One thing I want to mention too is to make sure we're going to be looking at the 2151As and like looking at last quarters and this quarters. So make sure you are recording current activity, you know, in your 2151As, and that if they are employed, that you're including the employer information on that 2151A also.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the ISTEP dashboard. Oh, hold on. We got another question. Is DHS supposed to update DHS? Some of the offices put it in the case note and some don't. The problem is they show up as I need to do a 2151 monthly, and they have been sanctioned since July. Oh, are you referring to customers who are in sanction? Do they need a monthly upload? Is that what you mean, Autumn? No, customers who are sanctioned and who are no longer SNAP eligible, they should not be needing a monthly upload because you're not engaging them. Are they still showing as in that section? So they're showing up as past due. Okay.
We have to check that. We have to have Cody check that.
Yeah, I will talk. I'll make a note and check with Cody about that because they shouldn't be showing there. Okay. If they are sanctioned, the green bar on the progress page will turn red because they'll no longer be SNAP eligible. If they're just putting a case, are you saying they're just putting a case note saying they were sanctioned and not marking their eligibility status? Okay. Autumn, I'm going to give you a call. I'll get in contact with you after this, and we'll get that figured out. But I'm going to go ahead and go on to the ISTEP dashboard. All righty. So for our, hold on, we have another. Megan from Phalanx says, I also have a customer in the dashboard that have not been active for months, but I am still prompted to do 2151As. Are they not active because they are not SNAP eligible?
Yeah, we're going to have DHS look into this. So we'll take notes from this, and we'll see what we're going to have DHS do with this.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start going over the ISTEP dashboard. And so the first section we have is the personal development section. And so for this section, if not every customer is going to need steps in this section, so if you have a customer that does not need any personal development steps, you can mark them as completed. And so then we'll know when we're looking, oh, they don't need steps, this section has already been completed. The other section is the career planning section. And here we have a couple of areas that we really need completed for each customer. The target occupation should be selected for all customers. You can find this information in the customer's application. It looks like we have 492 customers who do not have a target occupation selected. Since this is their career plan, it's very helpful to have that piece of information in there so we know where they want to get to. And then it looks like we have 278 customers who have no career planning steps identified. I do understand that not every customer, there might be a couple that don't have any career planning steps, but a majority of them should have career planning steps in there. So if you have customers with no steps, be sure that you're going in there and getting those added. And we're still working on making that update so it will not open the ISTEP until they're enrolled. So a couple of these customers are customers who maybe are in conciliation and you had no contact with, and you don't need to do anything with those customers, just the customers that you are engaged with. And then the other section is the academic and technical training section. In this section, we have 370 customers with no steps identified. And I do understand that there will also be a couple customers in this section that will not have any steps, but for the most part, they are going to have a step or 2 or 10 in this section. So if you have customers in here that you are working with and they are doing activities in this area, make sure that you're putting their steps in ISTEP and it's matching up with the 2151As that we're uploading every month. Do you guys have any questions about ISTEP?
This is Tammy, and we are going to be starting technical assistance visits here real soon. We're going to be coming out to each of your agencies, and part of what we're going to be doing is looking at the ISTEP and making sure that information is documented in the ISTEP. One of the areas, like assessments, there's nothing at this point documented in assessments, and that's one of the areas that we're still working with WorkNet. But we're going to be assisting you guys just to make sure that the data is in the system, because this is what we use and this is what the feds use for seeing how our progress is going on the programs. And then obviously we'll be looking at your backup, supporting documentation to support what you're identifying as being, done with these clients. So the first quarter of this month is we're going to be doing technical assistance to everybody, and then there'll be official monitoring visits probably the second to third quarter of 2017. Same with the fiscal monitoring. So just as a heads up.
All right. Are you done with the dashboard, Olivia?
I sure am.
All right, so let's minimize that, and let's talk about this poll question that we have here. We'll make this, I want you guys to think about this. We'll open this back up in a little bit, but what kind of assistance do you need for the first quarter other than the technical assistance sessions that we're going to actually be doing? So think about this while we're moving on. The other thing that we need for you guys to do is once we're able to get to the restricted resources page again, I need you to look at the CBO contact information and make sure that all of that is up to date, because I know people have been retiring. I know somebody from, where was it, Two Rivers retired, Howard retired, and now they've got Jeremy. So we need to make sure that these lists are current and up to date. One thing that I do want to talk about is as we're getting closer to, Deidre, I think we need to take that offline. One of the things that we need to do is look at the number of training programs because as we're moving forward, some of the programs are filling up. So for example, at North Lawndale Employment Network, their Administrative Excellence program has 22 slots, and there's 22 slots in people assigned to the program. So one of the things that we need to do is we need to make sure that as people are moving through the program, we're doing the paperwork the right way so that if somebody is showing poor progress, that those people are being taken through the conciliation process, and if they're no longer eligible, that slot gets removed so that somebody can fill in the slot. Because part of the program is if the person is no longer eligible, they no longer receive benefits or services, and that slot becomes available for someone else. And if there is still a slot available, if that original person becomes eligible again, then they can try to fill the slot. Otherwise, it goes to the new person. So just let's keep all of that moving and in place. One of the things that we want to do now is we want to talk about what happens in the local DHS office when a customer comes to EPIC for the first time. So as they're brought into the room, the staff at the office goes over the exemption list with them. And there's a whole list of things that can cause, in a mandatory area, can cause a customer to be exempt from having to participate in ENT services. Now, in the voluntary areas, everybody is exempt. So it makes it a little bit more interesting for the customers to be enthusiastic. So that's why our DHS workers are trying really hard, and why we need support from you guys to help us find employers that might be enthusiastic and might be willing to share some experience with them. One of the things that they are shown is this chart where they see the differences between the regular SNAP ENT services versus the services that are available through EPIC. So hopefully they see the benefit of participating in EPIC, although some people just need a job desperately. So we understand that. They get to watch 2 different videos, so I'm not going to play them all the way through, but you can play these. You can see them and watch them and listen to them. They're available on the step 1 of the program. And then we also have the a PowerPoint presentation that has many of the details of what the program is doing. So those they all watch those 2 videos after they get talked to about what the different exemption opportunities are. Then, if they're still interested and they hang around, then they go to the career cluster inventory. And some of you, if you are WIOA providers, may already be using this with your customers, but they only do the one session, the one segment of the career inventory. And it's the 80-question one where they say, what are you kind of interested in? And they just click here and they log in based on the username and profile that they're given during the invitation process. Then once they get done with that, excuse me, once they get done with that, then they move on to step 3, which is the training program review section. And what they do is they enter the region. So if we go to region 3 and we pick behind each of the programs is behind each of the career clusters is the number of programs that are available based on that career cluster. So if I pick hospitality and tourism, and I pick manufacturing, and I pick transportation and logistics, those are the areas that seem like I might be most interested in. The they, Kelsey, these are the customers that will be coming to you. So these are the EPIC customers. They're DHS clients, and they are invited by the DHS offices because they are SNAP recipients. So that they, in turn, then go through this process and hopefully become your customer. Does that answer your question, Kelsey? Okay. Then the next thing that they look at is they look at the potential barriers to employment or things that might prevent them from participating in a particular program. These are set up based on items that you entered. So if they cannot pass a tuberculosis test or they're legally blind, if they've had 3 or more moving violations, they can't get a driver's license. So if they can't get a driver's license, they can't really be a truck driver. If they're not interested in careers that require a drug test, they would not probably be recommended for any of the programs. Are they listed on the sexual offender registry? They can't participate in a number of different programs. Do they have a violent felony conviction, or do they have a nonviolent felony conviction? So say I am not able to get a driver's license, and then I enter my zip code. Is anybody on the call from the Peoria area? Can you type in a zip code down there for me? Nobody knows. Okay, so let's just pick one at random, and then I look at the list, and it shows me the programs that I would be eligible for. So by picking that I am not able to get a driver's license, it took away my possible programs for manufacturing and transportation. If I uncheck I can get a driver's license, basically, then they opens up many more programs for me. And because I didn't have a Peoria zip code, let's try something, 62. Let's try that and see if maybe that makes it closer. All right, that's a little better. What this does is it gives me program name, career information, how long the program is, and this is all based on information that you entered, distance to me from the program, how is it accessible, and what region it is. So then I can watch some videos. I can click on the program name and see program information, and I can take a look at, it has some questions for the person to think about, and then during the eligibility review process, the caseworker, the DHS caseworker, will talk about these questions with the customer. So this is all based on information that you entered. Now, one of the things that we want you to do is to make sure that you are putting in a great description. So if I'm looking at this hospitality program, it could really use some more information to try to be a sales pitch for that program for that customer. So if you have not updated your descriptions, you have 2,000 characters that you can enter in there. Include all kinds of information that will help that customer make a decision. Gotta love that mute button. All right, so then once we are done looking at that, then we can go back and it will give you career information about the overall career. And that takes you to, from Illinois WorkNet, it takes you to the information that's provided by, help me out, Olivia, what's the overall program? I'm having a brain cramp right now. It's from CIS, but it's also ONET. ONET has a lot of the information here. So then they can look at all of that. Then they can decide of these, based on what their career interest survey came out, based on these programs, what are they actually interested in participating. From there, they move to step 4, the application. And in the application, they fill out all of the information that helps us base what their eligibility will be for that program. Then, when they're done with the application, the caseworker will go through the eligibility review process with them, and then they go into the actual random assignment. And so that's what I'm showing you here. This is the random assignment program. And I would look for a participant here. So I'm going to look for Bob Jones. He's my test guy. And I'm going to search. They have to check to see if somebody's there. And then what happens is they go through the process to enroll a new participant. So they have to fill out all of the information, go through I think it's 12 screens, maybe it's only 10, gathering information, and then they click a button and it says, yes, you're assigned to EPIC, or no, you're not assigned. You're assigned to SNAP-E&T. So then when they are done with that and they go into, I don't have the sample program, then that's when the customer talks with the DHS caseworker, reviews the different programs that are available for them, and they then make a determination about what program, what agency, what particular item they're going to do. And we go through the assignment process. So that's the overall DHS intake orientation in a nutshell. So if you have any questions about that, please ask them at this time. We'll be happy to answer them for you. DHS oversees the orientation, but the only time DHS can really and truly assist the customer is if they're having problems with the computer. Otherwise, we want the customer to do this. And they're doing it in a group setting in most cases. There's anywhere between 5 to 10 individuals at one time, and there's usually only one person overseeing, monitoring the orientation. Right.
So, Indy, correct me if I'm wrong, but to answer Kelsey's question too, once they go through the orientation and then they do the random assignment, then they do sit back with the caseworker again, and then they kind of go through their options of what training programs that would be the best fit for them. So then they actually select the training program after they're randomly assigned. So they, the orientation is to give them exposure to the EPIC programs and the opportunities and the training that's available to them for them to make a selection to participate. And then once they make that selection and they're assigned, then they go back with the caseworker and they work with them to make a choice.
And it really depends on where they are and how much time they have as to how much of an in-depth conversation they have. I know in Peoria, for example, there's one caseworker that deals with this, but she doesn't have 15 people showing up for an orientation. Now in Chicago, there are 2 to 3 caseworkers assigned for each orientation, so they get to spend a little bit of time. As people are going through all of the different steps of the orientation, they go through it at different rates of time. And so they kind of get through an application early, and then usually I haven't seen people have to wait more than 45 minutes so that they can talk with somebody.
And this is one of the reasons that Dee had you guys on the Friday calls to talk about your program so that the caseworkers are more familiar with who you guys are and what your programs are that you're offering. And we'll be doing more of that this first quarter also to get more exposure to the DHS caseworkers on what's available.
Yes, if you're interested in presenting, I do have a spot available for this Friday. The webinar is at 10 a.m., so if you do have some time available between 10 and 11 that you would want to present about your agency, you can let me know right now in the chat pod, and otherwise you can send me a message, and I'll put my email address in here. And those are every Friday. Those are every Friday from 10 a.m. to 11. Normally we wouldn't start with the CBO presentation until closer to 10:30 because we normally have quite a bit of stuff to go over with them. Oh, Margaret wants to do Friday the 13th. Sure, Margaret. I will sign you up for that. All right. All righty. I don't have anything else.
I do have one question, and somebody can type in. There is an office that we're looking at expanding, potentially service a DHS office, and it would be kind of in the, I believe, Arlington Heights area. Does anybody have offices or provide services in that area?
It's considered the Northern Cook quadrant.
Exactly. So is there somebody that could provide services in that quadrant for SNAP clients? And just let us know. You can either type it in the chat now, or you can send it to the Illinois EPIC site and let us know.
Nellie asked a question about username and password, and you can, on the, let me try and get training up here. Test. I'll show you where you can find the username and password. Oh, Olivia. Let me try this. All right, I'll work on this. I'll show you this. Olivia, do you want to? Go ahead and ask your question, Alan. Okay, so on Olivia's screen, you can see right now, you can see the username. If you can magnify that a little bit, Olivia, you can see the username and password just on the left-hand side. Username right there, and then under the profile details, you can set a new password for the customer. Now you're logged in as super admin. I'm logged in as, but on CBO you can still do this as well. So you can see the username and you can still update the password for the customer. So does that answer your question, Nellie? As long as they've got their name, that's all that really matters. All right, and now Alan's question. I have a client who can't attend our program because of medical reasons. Because of that, DHS can't do sanction, but she's still on our caseload. What do I put on her 2151A? No change. She becomes exempt, and that will move her. DHS will have to change her on the progress page. They will need to change her to, they will have to change the eligibility status here, and that should move her out of your area. Oh, sorry, I thought I was sharing my screen. Olivia. So on the progress page. And we'll double check to make sure that those are moving on the dashboard and that they're not requiring. Can you make a note about that, Olivia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to pull this. All right, any other questions that you can think of that we need to cover for you? Now this might be bigger training than just this, than just a webinar. So we'll leave that open for a few minutes. I don't know that I don't think I have anything else. Tammy, do you have anything else?
No, there'll be information coming in the future. We're still working on the training and getting training out to the CBOs and also the DHS staff. And so this first quarter, that's a priority of ours as for training needs.
All right.
And I think we're all just trying to get our brains back around work.
All right. Well, everybody have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go try and cough my way to bed.
Dee, you get healthy.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.